Hello children, welcome to Samveda E-Class Learning Program. This program is sponsored by Department of Public Instruction and DSCRT. Today we are going to discuss regarding nutrition in animals, which is the second unit of 7th standard science. This particular lesson will be broadcasted in 2 sessions, and the first session we are going to discuss today. In the first unit, we have discussed completely regarding the nutrition in plants. But in this particular lesson, we are going to discuss regarding nutrition in animals. So what and all the points we are going to discuss in this lesson? If we have a bird view of it, it will be very easy for us. So after learning this lesson, we will come to understand the different mode of intake in animals. Even every animal depends on plants or other animals for food. But how do they take in food and what is the mode of food intake? This is what we are going to discuss in this particular lesson. And also we will try to understand the process of digestion in man. How the process of digestion takes place. What is digestion? Why is it so important? These are all the points we are going to discuss in this particular lesson as well. We are also trying to analyze the arrangement, types and the function of teeth and how is it helpful to us. Do you think that we are only discussing regarding the process of digestion in man? No. We will also try to understand the process of feeding and digestion in unicellular organism called amoeba. And also we will be discussing regarding the grass-eating animals like cow, how the digestion takes place in them. Today, in this particular session, what and all the points we are going to discuss? Even let us have a look of that also. We will discuss about the importance of nutrition in animals. Why do animals need nutrition? And you can see in the picture there are many food items and through that we are going to get the nutrition. And every animal will have a different mode of intake of food. So you can see in the picture there is a squirrel which is eating a food. So how different animals intake the food? So that also we are going to discuss in this particular session. And we will try to analyze the arrangement, types and the function of the teeth. How teeth is going to helpful us and how it is going to helpful in the process of digestion. And finally, we will also looking at the region of the tongue where the different tastes are there. How do we get to know about the sweet taste? How do we come to know about the sour taste? All these things we are going to discuss in this particular session. Now, let us begin our discussion from the known factor that we studied in the previous lesson. How do plants prepare food? How do they prepare their food? So you can see clearly in this particular picture that there is a leaf. So leaf is a food factory. We have discussed in the previous lesson. Leaf contains chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment which is mainly responsible for the color of leaf as well as for the plant. What it will do? It will trap the sunlight. The sunlight will be trapped by the chlorophyll. Carbon dioxide and water are present. Carbon dioxide is abundantly present in the air. Water is absorbed through the root hairs. So carbon dioxide and water mixes and the biochemical reaction takes place and carbohydrate and oxygen are formed. Carbohydrate will be stored in the cells of the plant and oxygen will be released to the environment. And this whole process we call it as photosynthesis. In the previous class we have discussed it. And what will be the mode of reaction? You can see that carbon dioxide plus water, they combine together and in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the reaction takes place and carbohydrate and oxygens are released. So this is the process of photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means preparation. Using sunlight, plants prepare their own food. So living things are broadly classified into 2 categories. We know that already, we have discussed in the previous class, that is autotrophs. Autotrophs means what? They can prepare their own food. Auto means self, troph means nourishment. And so autotrophs are the organisms which can prepare their own food and example for that are plants, especially green plants. And we have heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means they can't prepare their own food, they depend on plants and other animals for the food habit and examples for that are animals and other organisms. Now the question comes to us that how do animals get their nutrition? Animals can't prepare their own food because they don't have chlorophyll. They have to depend on other organisms for their food habit. So based on their food habit, these animals are broadly classified into 3 categories. And the first one are those animals which depend on plants. So the animals which depend on plants for their food habit, we call them as herbivores. Herbivores are the animals which depends on plant. And examples for that are cow, you can see that deer and also we have rabbit are the examples of it. Even many more are there, we have quoted few. And there are few animals which depends on other animals directly. They eat meat or flesh of the other animals. Normally we call these animals as carnivorous animals. So example for that are all wild animals can be considered. Tiger, lion and even cheetah is an example for carnivorous. And finally we have animals which depend both plants and animals. So those animals which depend on both plants and animals for food, we call them as omnivores. Examples for that are dog, even human being is an example for an omnivore, and even we depend on both plant and animals for our food habit, and even bear is an example for the omnivores. So what are the components of food? What are the different components of food available to us? So these food contains nutrients. So which are the different nutrients we have? Carbohydrate is one nutrient, and which is mainly responsible for giving energy to the body. So carbohydrates provides energy. Then we have minerals. Minerals like potassium and sodium are highly essential for the metabolic activities. So they play a vital role in our metabolic activities. Then we have vitamins, mainly responsible for taking care of our health. And then we have fibers, which helps in the process of digestion. Then we have water. Water is highly essential, and we have to drink at least 6 liters of water per day. Then we have lipids, which also gives us energy. Then we have proteins. Proteins are very helpful to us in the growth of the body. So these are all the nutrients which are present in the food. Now we cannot take carbohydrate, minerals, vitamins, fibers, water separately. So what we will do, we will take a balanced diet which contains all these food ingredients and components. What happens then when we eat a balanced diet? We can see that the components of food such as carbohydrates are complex substances, and these complex substances cannot be utilized as such by the body. Our body is not in a position to use the carbohydrates directly. So because they are very complex in nature, these complex substances cannot be utilized by the body directly. So what has to be done? So they are broken down into simpler substances. They have to be divided or broken down into simpler substances. And this breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substances is called as digestion. So what is digestion? Digestion is the breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substances is called as digestion. So if you look at this picture, you will be able to understand clearly. See, there is a complex substance, and that complex substance undergo the process of digestion. So what happens? A simple substance is formed, and this simple substance can be utilized by our body. Now let us take this example. What is this? This is a protein. This protein is, as we know, it is a nutrient, and this protein is a complex substance. This complex substance undergo the process of digestion, and amino acids are formed. These amino acids are the simplest form of proteins. So whatever the proteins we have taken in, it has to be digested and broken down into amino acid. This whole process we call it as digestion. So what happens to the other complex substances? How do they break down? Let us have a look of that also. See, complex substances on one side I have written, and the simpler substances on the other side. So what happens to carbohydrate? This carbohydrate, after digestion, it will become glucose. And we have already discussed about the protein. Protein will become amino acid. So what happens to fats? The fats are converted into glycerol and fatty acids. So this is the way complex substances are broken down into simpler substances. Now, what are the different ways of taking in food? How do we take food inside the body? So the mode of taking food into the body varies in different organisms. Different organisms takes the food in different ways. So there is a variety in it. There is a diversity in it. So for example, let us take the example of hummingbird and bees. They are birds. What do? They suck the nectar of the plants. The nectar will be present in the plant and they suck it, and that's the way they intake the food. And we have one more, snakes, especially like pythons. What will they do? They swallow the animal. Whatever the animals which are the prey for them, they swallow it completely. So this is one more way of looking at it. What man will do then? Man chews the food and swallow it. You can take that man takes the food through the mouth, he chews it completely and then swallow it in. Now look at the diagram. This is a hummingbird. Hummingbird is a beautiful bird. You can see in the picture. Now you can see that it is sucking the nectar of the flower. You can also see in this particular picture that python or a snake is completely swallowing the prey. and you can see man how he is eating the food. Now, various modes of feeding are there. So, what are the various modes of feeding, and we will try to find out the different examples which we can see in our nature. So, what I have done for that, I have taken name of the animal, I will write the name of the animal, then the kind of food feed on it, and then mode of feeding, how do they feed on it. The first one is snail. Have you ever thought how snails eat? Yeah, the snails eat leaf and fungi. How do they eat? Chewing, they chew the food. Have you ever observed it in the nature? I have got a very small video clip of it, just see it once, you will understand in a better way. Now, let us take eagle. What eagle will eat? Eagle will eat meat or flesh. How do it eat? It completely swallows it. Then you can see ants. Have you ever observed ants eating? Ants need sweet or wheat as food. How do they eat? Even they chew it completely. Then housefly. What housefly will do? Housefly will suck blood. Then we have got snake. We have already seen how snakes swallow I have brought a small video clip of it. Just look at it. How mosquitoes suck on blood. It will be very interesting and fascinating as well. How do we human take in food? Look at this boy. He is eating food. He is eating food through his mouth and he is chewing it. You can observe it in the picture. So, food is taken into the body through mouth. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. Ingestion is the first step of digestion. So, the process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. And we chew food with the teeth and break it down mechanically into small pieces. We chew the food with the teeth which are there in the buccal cavity or which are there in the mouth, and break it down mechanically by chewing it, and we will make them into smaller pieces. Saliva mixes with it, it becomes a paste, and then swallow it inside. This is the mode in which we take food. If this is the case, how much do we know about our teeth? Teeth plays a vital role. Do we have any idea on these teeth? How it helps us and how are they formed? How many are there? Let's have a look at it. See, you can see that. Do you remember about falling of your teeth some years ago? Some years ago your teeth might have fell down. How and why? See, the first set of teeth grows during infancy. When the child is born, during the infancy stages, the first set of teeth were grown and they fall off at the age of 6 to 8 years. If you have younger brothers at home, you can just see they might be telling or complaining about the fall of the teeth. Why? Because they will fall down. Why? Because these are all milk teeth. So, the first set of teeth grows during the infancy and they fall off at the age between 6 to 8 years, and they are termed as milk teeth. So, how much do we know about our teeth? The second set of teeth, which replaces the milk teeth, they are called permanent teeth. They are permanent. They are grown after the milk teeth. So, the second set that replaces the milk teeth are called permanent teeth. You can see in the picture, these are all permanent teeth. So, if I say permanent, do you think they are permanent, they are everlasting? The permanent teeth may last through life. It might be there throughout the life if we take care properly. Or fall off during the old age. You might have seen in your, if your grandfather or grandmother are there, they might be complaining about the fall of teeth. So, you can ask them. And also, due to some dental diseases, even because of this reason, the teeth may fall down. So, even though they are called permanent teeth, they may last throughout the life, but they might fall down due to some dental diseases or age related factors. So, let us discuss about the type of teeth, the function of teeth and the number of teeth present. And also we will try to address the arrangement of teeth and different type of teeth as well. Now, look at this particular diagram. This part indicates the lower jaw of your mouth. In the lower jaw, we have bifurcated the different types of teeth. The first one is incisors, and the second one is canines, then we have premolars, then we have molars. So, there are 4 types: incisors, canine, premolar and molar. So, what do they do? How many are there? What are their functions? Let us look one by one. The first one are incisors. What is their function? They helps in cutting and biting. They helps in cutting and biting of the food. There are 8 teeth, 4 in the lower jaw and 4 in the upper jaw. Next one is canines. So, canines, how do they help us? They help in piercing and tearing the teeth. How many are there? There are 4. There are 4 canines. Then we have premolars. How do they help us? Premolars help in chewing and grinding. How many are there? Totally 8 premolars are there. Then finally we have molars. They also help us in chewing and grinding. And how many are there? 8. Now you can add them up, and together we can see there are 28 teeth. There are 28 different types of teeth we have seen. Now let us continue our discussion on this. So there are 32 teeth altogether and there are 20 milk teeth. Immediately a question comes to your mind. Sir, in the previous slide you explained that there are 28. Now you are telling there are 32 altogether. How it is possible? Good question. The answer for that is 32 permanent teeth will be there, but 4 wisdom teeth will grow at the age of 18 to 23. 4 wisdom teeth will grow at the age of 18 to 23. If you have elder brothers or sisters, you ask them, they might be complaining about headache or toothache. Why? Because they might be getting these wisdom teeth. So 32 altogether we have, and 28 plus 4, 4 teeth are wisdom teeth. Okay. The biggest teeth are molars, they are the biggest, but the sharpest are canines, because the canines helps in tearing of food. How do we get the taste of the food? How do we get it? How do we know that this is sweet? How do we know that this is sour? How do we know this is bitter? To taste the food, we have tongue. Tongue helps in knowing the taste. We have already learned tongue in our previous years of study. Yes, it is an example for a sense organ. So we have got 5 sense organs. The first one is skin, which helps in the sense of touch. Then we have eyes, which helps in the sense of vision. Then we have nose, which helps in the sense of smell. Then we have ears, which helps in identifying the sound. And finally we have tongue, which helps in the process of identifying the taste. So these are the 5 sense organs, and tongue is one among it. Tongue helps us a lot. How? There are different regions in the tongue for different taste. So look at this picture, you can see clearly. You can see that sweet and salt are in the front portion, sour is in the side portion, and then bitter is in the back portion. You might have observed while eating the ice cream, you might have did like this, right? Why? Why? Because the sweet and salt portion are there in the front region. That's why you will do it. Automatically it comes to us, right? Yes. The tongue has taste buds which helps in identifying the taste. Now we will continue our discussion on tongue. You can see the tongue is moving throughout the mouth or in the buccal cavity. So a tongue is a fleshy muscular organ attached at the back to the floor of the buccal cavity. This is very, very important. It's a fleshy muscular organ which is attached at the back to the floor of the buccal cavity. You can see clearly that it is free at the front and can be moved in all directions. You can see in the picture, the tongue can be moved in all the direction. And especially the most important thing is we use our tongue for talking, and if a person has to talk, tongue plays a vital role. And what it will do, it also mixes saliva with the food during chewing and helps in swallowing the food. The main function of the tongue is this, it mixes saliva with the food during chewing and helps in swallowing it. So tongue plays a vital role. Tongue helps in tasting the food as well as in swallowing. It also helps in talking as well. Now, normally you might have heard this, that parents or teachers telling you that don't eat chocolate too much or don't eat sweet too much, you will get tooth decay. What is it? Let us try to understand. Normally bacteria are present in our mouth, but they are not harmful to us. What happens? If we do not clean our teeth and mouth after eating, many harmful bacteria also begins to live and grow on it. If we do not clean our teeth after eating, our mouth after eating, what happens? These harmful bacteria starts living and growing. So what happens? These bacteria break down the sugar present from the leftover food and releases acids. The acids gradually damage the teeth. This is called tooth decay. So whatever we eat, if we have not rinsed it properly, what happens? The bacteria present in the mouth act on the sugar and the leftover food and releases acid, and these acid gradually damage our teeth, and this is called tooth decay. And you can see in the picture how it happens. So this is called tooth decay. So what we have to do? We have to take care of our tooth. How can we do it? How to protect our teeth? Very simple. We have to brush properly. You can see in the picture we are brushing it. at least clean the teeth with a brush at least twice a day. It is minimum that we have to brush at least twice a day. After eating any food, we have to rinse the mouth after every meal. We have to rinse our mouth after every meal, which is essential. And one should not put dirty fingers. Normally we will do it like this, right? We should not put our dirty fingers or any unwashed objects into the mouth, because they are very, very important to us and we have to protect them, because if they are permanent teeth, we have to protect them for lifetime. So at least we have to brush twice a day, rinse mouth after every meal, and don't put any finger or unwashed objects in the mouth. So regarding tooth decay, there is a small story. See it once, you will understand.
Hello my dears. Today I am going to tell you a story of your mouth. If you don't brush before going to bed in the night, the small bugs that live inside our mouth wake up and find all the food you have left for them. They are very happy to see all that food and wake all their friends up and have a big party in your mouth. Eating, drinking, dancing, jumping on your teeth. And after all the fun and all the food, they need to go to the toilet to pee and poop. They start looking around but find none. Then they start digging on your teeth to make a toilet. And that's what is a cavity. Do you want pee, poop and toilet in your mouth? Yuck. No. That's why you got to brush before going to bed every night and leave no food for bugs. No food means no party, no toilet making by bugs. Clean and healthy. From today onwards, I do believe you brush every night before sleeping and rinse your mouth after every meal. Otherwise these tiny bugs will party and poop and pee all in your mouth. Stay healthy, stay clean. We do care for your teeth. Dr. Neil Pandey, logging off for today. Have a great day ahead.
So after completion of the first session, let us do following activities. What you can do? You can contact a dentist in your locality and try to collect more information regarding tooth decay and protection of teeth. It helps you a lot. What is the function of teeth, how does it help us, and how to protect it, what is tooth decay, all this information you can collect it from the dentist in your locality. Please do it and meet them personally and get more information and share with your friends. This will give you a lot of insights. And also we know that different animals take different mode of intake of food. That means many organisms are present and different animals eat differently. So collect the pictures of it and make an album of it and present it in the classroom. It will be very interesting. And you can also try to draw the neat diagram of taste buds in the tongue and the places where the taste buds are located and try to explain its significance. These projects you can do it after the class. So the first session on nutrition and animals is presented to you by Gurudatta A, science teacher, Government Model Primary School, Dodda Kalsandra, Bangalore South 1. We will meet in the second session. Thank you.